welcome to today. Those who are returning, you must have learned so much from the last day, but not from me. Because as I said the last day, I know nothing about AI. And if anyone tells you they do know everything about AI, don't trust them. Because what we thought we knew last week, we definitely don't know even now. And things are changing so quickly and extraordinarily. I want to thank those of you that have come back, because I would love to start today by saying we said that today we would look at the future of AI. And to me, in many ways, the future of AI, as we see it in education right now, is very much based around what a lot of people are avoiding, which is we can now, as you all know, utilizing 3 simple projects, which I will share with you afterwards. Free links. You've probably heard of HeyGen. If you haven't heard of HeyGen, then maybe you heard of DI/D, or maybe Synthesia. These are actually programs and apps that are available where an avatar in any language, like we did last week, can actually create your tutorial, your class for you, utilizing AI, designing the lessons with that avatar, utilizing voices in any language you wish to present. Now that's bloody scary, because the questions teacher asked me is, then is my job gone? To which I again stress this week, can AI love? Does AI have empathy? Does AI have consciousness? Is it cognizant? Can AI feel? Is AI really creative in the way that we as human beings are? And the answer is very simple. No. Can we train an AI model to try and do this? Yes. But the human species, us, we, are incredibly complex. Like we said last week, we are the most dangerous species on this earth. And yet we're the most beautiful. Look around you. There are people today cleaning up the oceans, planting trees in the Amazon, using drones that are planting pods, because AI has said, through hundreds of years of research, of looking at data and papers, where are the best places in the jungles, in the forest, to plant specific trees and crops so they will grow, looking at all the data on weather, on droughts, on everything. This is what it can do. AI has a huge potential and capacity, as I said last week, to be Luke Skywalker, to be the Star Wars, to go with the Force, to be the light warrior. But it also has the capacity to be the Darth Vader, to send drones and bombs, and to predict and to do things which are unthinkable. But let us not forget, who makes the choice? We do. Humans. Who designs the algorithms? We do. Humans. And the human species needs to understand there is nothing that is created to date that has the capacity that we have to be everything that makes us extremely beautiful and dangerous. And I'm telling you, I believe myself, and I stand with my hands. The reason why so many humans fear AI is because they look in the mirror and they fear themselves. Because humans know how messed up they are. And when they look at AI and how AI is evolving, they're going, whoa, imagine if there were 2 of us in the world. Imagine there were 2 of you in the world. What would you tell that person? What would you tell them to do that you did that you don't want them to do? Or what would you say to them? I often say to people, speak to your 20-year-old self. Tell them something. Give them a lesson that will allow them to bring this beauty into life. So let us start today, knowing that we're going to take a look at HeyGen, DID, and Synthesia. Did you know that you can upload a picture of yourself that's a still frame and it becomes live? And it will actually speak to you as if it was teaching in a classroom. You can actually get it to apps to do music and songs. All of these things are wonderful and creative. And I know we asked the question last week, who has the intellectual property on this? Well, the ethics boards are writing on this. The legal people are putting things together. Right now, there's a big confusion out there. But for now, Annie, for now, and today I would like to talk about Unity as well, yes. Annie. And also we've websites in astronomy. Did you know, I said to you last week, we nearly have a manual ready now for schools all over Europe, how to study astronomy through Minecraft education, utilizing AI. I'm happy to share all of that with you in about 2 weeks. Annie will send them all out to you.
Yeah.
And enjoy these. Have fun with them. By the way, let the students have fun with them. Let them go into the Minecraft environments of understanding astronomy education towards a better Earth sustainability, and let them see how AI can make this happen, asking the right questions. Also, last week, I asked you to sign up for Chomsky, and I'm loving to hear your feedback on Chomsky. Could you catch it out? How is it evolving? Did the nano algorithm that was running around to protect children and students, did it actually work? And then I hope many of you got in and did maybe Annie will send the link again. You got the chance to answer the questions on where you are in the AI journey now. Don't forget to choose the third option, DEC, because that would be where we were standing. So Annie, can I hand over to you to bring people in and tell us, what have they found in the last week with AI? What have you discovered? What lessons did you learn? What questions did you ask? Tell us about this, please, because I'm really interested in hearing what you now have to say. And then we come back and look at the future. Sorry.
I can start with what
future, Annie. Sorry, Annie. Yeah. The future. Actually, the
future is knocking, I hope.
What is actually the future is now? Why?
Yeah,
because it is now. And therefore it is now. So Annie, handing over to you, my lady, my queen, my Helga, my Viking lady, go and please bring people in to share their stories.
Like a crayfish, that's me, all red. Thank you, Dahi, for that. I can start by what I did. I love, as I told you, I think, I really like Chomsky. But now I tried a new thing, and I also, like you said, compare it. And I don't know what it is. It's something that speaks to me when I work in Chomsky. But I asked Chomsky if I could get like an idea for a book. I got an idea for a book, and I asked it to write the first chapter. And it became 10 chapters, and then an epilogue with a very, very interesting teaser in the end. It was about digital future, about being hacked, kids who were really brave working to fight this. Interesting. I've never tried that before.
So can I take you back, Annie? You said you wrote a book. So what was the first question you asked Chomsky? You registered and you went in. What did you say?
Yeah. I asked about a thrilling story for teenagers where there was some, technology bumps or challenges in it.
So it started with one chapter, yes?
It started with an idea of a book, and then I asked it if it could write the first chapter. And then after the first chapter, I felt like, no. Who are the characters in this book? So I asked about the description of the characters. So then I got the characters, and then I asked for chapter 2, and so on until chapter 10. That was the end, and then I asked for an epilogue, which very smoothly showed me towards a sequel.
Okay, so a question that was asked last week. Do you believe that that is actually your own original work? Or do you believe that AI has written this for you? Or do you believe you have co-authored?
That's a really interesting question, because I thought about it a lot as I saw just the text coming, and it sort of felt like me, but still not. And it was really quick, of course. But I think I could go the line and say co-authored. But is that maybe too much? I did not do anything really, but the ideas and like we talked about how to ask the questions. That's what I wanted to try. How do I ask the questions, and what responses do I get? Because if I didn't ask the question right, I got something very weird.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone else would like to come in and share what they've done in the last week with AI, with Chomsky, with OpenAI, with the questions they asked, asking the stupid questions like we said, and see, did you get the stupid answers, asking crazy questions? Would anyone else like to come in?
Yes, Christian, have you tried anything?
Yeah, I tried the difference in many languages to ask Chomsky for an exam test why we have these extreme weather conditions. And I wasn't prepared for how good it was with these small differences, and that there are no language barrier problems or mishaps. So you really can design all the grades of tests in your own language and be sure that is correct in a language you don't know, and that is quite remarkable. And yesterday I was on a tech expo show, and they played that Astrid Lindgren was rapping an Eminem song, and it sounded exactly as Astrid Lindgren. And to do that just from speech over and make a melody, and that is not staccato, that's quite remarkable.
And thank you for that, Christian, because the interesting thing here is, first of all, I love the word, you were surprised. You see, the funny thing is, as we saw last week, because I did not know Hungarian, as you know, last week, but we wrote the question and I told it to translate to Hungarian. Then I asked our Hungarian colleagues, is that Hungarian? They went, whoa, yes. So remember the question last week from one of our colleagues, and I think it was here today, but I like writing my lesson plans. I actually love doing this. And if I don't do it, maybe my school will ask me to write more. The reality is that if we can ask the right questions and have our lesson plans done and in such detail, and we as humans, teachers, educators, check the links, particularly in Chomsky where it's protected, but in OpenAI where it's not, we're then able to spend more time engaging with the students, being empathically connected, doing the things that we humans do, which is creativity, love, empathy, cognizance. And this is the thing. What I'm loving about it is you said that they were lip syncing. In America's Got Talent 2 years ago, we saw groups coming where they could put Elvis's head on Simon Cowell singing, "We will descend," and you're going to go, whoa, mama. I mean, that is something else when something like that actually happens. But AI doesn't differentiate. And therefore, it's the questions. But I'm sure, Christian, that did you only ask it one question, or had you to be specific and keep the questions going till you got what you wanted? I'm interested, please.
Yeah, well, no, I had my own inputs that I want the answer to contain these questions, and then surprise me to make more questions that I maybe not thinking about.
Yes.
So this prompt was more of a collaboration to
And
make
yes,
to
I like
make
that.
my product better.
Okay. To make, but like you said, to make your product better. And that's what you're actually looking about. And I kind of say to myself, okay, how can you make your product better? And I love the words you're using, because these are the words we need to use to make my product. It's not that it is to make it's not a teacher. It is, AI is a tool that you go on in a journey to get a product. And that product, if it does not make your life easier as an educator, if it is not sustainable, responsible, professional, ethical, then why would you use it? And these are the questions we need to ask as UNESCO, OECD, and governments come out with the policies that they're there. But so many, as we saw last week, are afraid of this because they don't want to go there because they're afraid of how it is. So, Christian, is there anything else exciting that you did or that you want to share with us? Because maybe there's someone else. And thank you for that. By the way, I love your background tonight. It's very wolfish, Wolverine-ish, very much Halloweenish. Yes, I love it with the Halloween.
No,
So
but
thank you.
what I was talking about is it was a collaboration. It was me together with Chomsky.
Yes.
I didn't let the Chomsky have a free, and so I thought I feel that it helped me to, okay, you should ask about this also.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then if you make a test like with different like A, B, C answers to choose from, maybe like I did, make help me to get answers that is almost correct, but not. So you can see the small differences.
Yes.
So
And
I'm finished.
I'm loving that. I'm actually loving that you're at a stage where you were looking for these small little differences, these little connections, these little ways of improving on something. But at the same time, I suppose my question would be similar to Annie. Having cracked the code, which you did, would you now say that as an educator, utilizing this code actually could make your life a lot easier or a lot
Yes.
more difficult or a lot more complex? How would you look upon that?
More stable, more advanced.
Yes. Now, can you maybe think of a student in your classroom that may have ADHD, crazy all the time going, or a student that may have challenges or be differently abled? Could you see artificial intelligence empowering them or enabling them to engage more meaningfully with education?
Well, one really good thing that I read about recently, it is when the next step of chat GRP that is connected to DALL-E 3, and then if during you have a conversation, you can ask the prompt to make images,
Yes.
like inputs to your story. And that if you want I mean a visual aid for students, that's very powerful.
Absolutely. So if there was a learner there who learns visually, who would be multi-literate in film literacy, and maybe also someone who can utilize, shall we say, can use voice commands to the AI, it can actually present them with something that can actually deliver what they want to say in education in a way that is also visually there. And of course, DALL-E is very, very good. And of course, Midjourney AI is the big one. And by the way, everything we're saying, if ever you want to know how to use any of these, go to YouTube. there are tutorials there all of the time in YouTube that people love you to actually utilize. And it's actually fantastic. So thank you for that. Annie, is there anyone else who would like to come in and share with us what they've been doing?
And no one has written anything or raised their hand, but would you like to, if you participated last week, or if there is something else that you want to share about AI or what you've been doing? Or we just continue, and you can feel free to write in the chat and interact whenever you want to, and we let Dahi continue otherwise.
Okay. I've just sent a link into the chat for you right now called Perplexity AI. Perplexity AI is a site. It will check to see if there's a secure connection. But when you sign up for Perplexity, here's an interesting one. Perplexity is like a Stasi cop, dare I say it. My mother would have been one of the first Allied soldiers into Auschwitz after the Second World War. And she would have been a medic. So Perplexity is like the KGB. It's like the Stasi. If you go in there, ask it about yourself. For example, is, let's say, Antra a person who lives in this and is a teacher? You will be amazed that it will search through every single piece of information out there with your name in your country, and it may come up with 5 of you, and it's not too sure which you are, and will give you a huge answer. But as you learn to ask it the question, am I the person who was born in Bucharest in such and such a day? And do I hold a master's doctorate degree in this? It will actually go and start to tell you exactly what exists out there in the cloud about you. Now, I'm now giving you Perplexity. Are you perplexed? The English word. Are you perplexed?
I am.
Are you worried? So Perplexity AI is one of those websites that pretty much says, Annie, get your gun, girl, because this is what we know about you. And imagine that this is a real bloody site that exists there right now. So has anyone managed to get into Perplexity and ask them a question about themselves? Anyone like to tell me what you're finding? The chat is basically in there. And
Okay.
let's see if my
Chat
fellow, is it opening for you?
Have you found Perplexity? Can you write and ask about yourself?
It's in
I
there.
found out there's another one named the same as me in Norway who is a tennis player.
Okay. Who is a tennis player? All right. And
apparently a golf player also. I won 11 gold in tennis.
now, so now, Annie, you're revealing your real self.
I am.
And it's interesting.
I like Norway.
You like
Yeah,
Norway. Good.
I do.
Yes. You like Norway. And in Perplexity AI, the reason I bring this up is this could be fun. And at the same time, this is a good way to teach your students about misinformation or disinformation or fake news. For example, I've had students go into Wikipedia and create a page about themselves. We are a person who has won 27 Olympic medals, and we did this and such, and we've lived for 300 years. They've published a page, and then they've gone to Perplexity to find out about themselves. And then we've held lessons about fake news. Then we've looked at Mr. Trump, we've looked at the videos, and this is the way that I believe AI, as we go into the future, can present the Darth Vader, the very dangerous aspects. But if we educate students and educate people, we can make them aware that AI can check if the AI is a fake, or if it is a fake news, but that's very hard to do. But Perplexity is a site I suggest you look at, and I suggest you ask it questions that you know are true and questions you know to be false, and check it out. Would anyone else like to share what they're finding on Perplexity? No,
asked about myself in our town and in Sweden, and I got the answer that there's several people that is called like me or similar, but I see there is a quite good hockey player.
so you
with my
see,
name.
so it's really doing good for your ego. Oh man, I am a quality hockey player. Whoa. And it's funny, isn't it? It's, by the way, this is a fun website, Perplexity, but it's fun and dangerous. But if you were teaching students about misinformation and you want to show them how someone can have fake news, this is a very good site to go on. Because, Christian, I could Google you, I could go onto Perplexity and say, oh my God, the person we had in the webinar is a very famous hockey player, or like Annie is this. And this is something that people use. So, does anyone else want to talk about Perplexity before we go on? If not, I'd like to look at a website called HeyGen, HeyGen. And I'd like to know whether or not you can actually see this if it comes up. So, Annie, can you tell me if you see a picture of me there with a video, an unentitled video?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a picture of me. It is an old picture of me. It is a picture that I did. Now, I'm going to show you what I've done with it. Hopefully you can hear this. I'm going to put it on for a moment. I'll pause and then ask Annie whether she can hear it.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the future.
Annie, can you hear that?
I hear it fine. Thank you.
Let it go. Now watch this.
Of AI. One thing is certain, before we begin. No matter how we wish to perceive this future, there will always be a need to debate and discuss AI and its evolution in society. Aspects of ethics, plagiarism, professionalism, fake news, and disinformation must at all times be double-checked. There is no doubt that AI has so much to offer society, but I always like to point out that virtually everything on Earth has the capacity to be a Darth Vader or a Luke Skywalker. Simply put, AI has capacity to be a force of good, or be on the dark side. We choose the side, not the AI. Let us remember that. We choose how AI is used. As we now move forward into the society which does not yet exist with our learners, we must always ask the hard questions and ensure that we are making the right choices.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can all hear me? I want to ask you,
Yes.
what the hell? Now, by the way, I uploaded a photograph. And I told it I was doing this with you today. And I told the photograph in HeyGen that I wanted it to tell you a story. Thoughts, please. By the way, that took me less than 30 seconds on a website called HeyGen. And I'll send them to you now. What are your thoughts, please?
Quite primitive.
Good. I like it. Tell me why you consider it to be primitive.
It looks like too few frames to get a good lip sync.
And because you attended that course, you probably saw the next evolution of that software, Christian, yes? So in a matter, by the way, HeyGen was only launched a couple of weeks back as the future of avatar AI. So in a matter of weeks, you have seen that evolution. So does that scare you or does that excite you? That something like an ordinary still photograph of a person can lip sync. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, as Christian already said, I could have that said in any one of 100 languages just by clicking the button. So does that frighten you? Or does, please, anyone feel free to come in here? Because we said today we were going to look at the future of where AI is going. And this is very much where it is going, into the media, into film, into sound and everything. So, Christian, thoughts on that? You said you've seen the future, as I have, but I wanted to choose something that is free for you to let people stand. So tell me. And by the way, if you go into YouTube onto HeyGen, it'll show you how to create these, as will the website. So please let me know what you think.
Well, it sounds this AI motor, it sounds like a fake voice. That's the first one.
Yes.
And it is really simple to make to learn a profile. If it was your own voice, but only from text.
Yes.
So it sounded like about half a year ago.
Exactly. But the reality is it's only weeks ago. I've sent the link, by the way, into you there if someone wishes to mess with this. Because the difference here is I can actually upload a video of myself. And I can put in 3 or 4 or 5 words. And HeyGen will then take my voice and my intonation and create it for me. And that's where we're going right now. I can basically say, for example, I'm the president of the United States. Okay, so I don't want to be in Philadelphia tomorrow, but I'm going to present myself as if I was there in a 3D format, being created in 3D on a stage where I'm giving a speech, but I'm 1,000 miles away through 2,000 kilometers to 6,000. So this is where it's heading. And this is what we can now do with just something that is in its beginning. I said this last week, and I would love to say it again. AI is at its worst evolutionary state right now. Every single minute of every day, it is evolving, and it is changing, and it is learning within itself. I did not say cognizant. But indeed, an author came out in the last 3 days and said that he does believe that AI will become cognizant. And now people are really getting worried. So you saw the beginning. Think back when DALL-E was put in initially as artwork. If you look back at the original, you go, oh my God, that's so ancient. But when that came out, it was cutting edge. But that wasn't 10 years ago. It wasn't 5 years ago. So this is what's scaring people. The AI evolution of what's available now is at such a pace that indeed society is unable to keep up with it. And therefore, that's the fear. But what I gave you there was something very simple. But just to let you know, if you thought that AI or the HeyGen, which I just put in there, was bad, the other one, which is Synthesia, Synthesia is way behind that one again, but it's free. But now let's put ourselves in the place of young children. In a young child who just wants to see how an avatar can maybe say something, so you encourage them to write something. So if you want them to encourage to write something, let's say like, hello, I am Johansson, I am 7 years of age, and I would love to play ice hockey. They can choose an avatar, and the avatar can say that for them from a choice of avatar, and then the avatar can say it in hey, do, and then can say, moi, je m'appelle, ich heiße, and all of a sudden the children are going, whoa, this is interesting. What I am saying, I am learning in a different language. Now we have this sense of AI collaborating, working with us to teach simple things. But if you wanted to, Christian, go out there and deliver something at the level of TEDx, what I showed you there on HeyGen is off. It's off. It's not good enough. But what you've seen, would you say what you've seen in the last few days is now at that level nearly?
Well, I mean, the future has already been. That's his problem. And this is like a new arms race. And the problem is that I think companies and people will feel excluded.
Okay. And I hear that, but let's imagine for a moment, let's imagine just for a moment that I am here and I want to create a website. And I basically, in the past, if I wanted to create a website, I would have to give someone what, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 euros to create a website. And I wanted them to create in that website, I wanted them to put in for me something that had videos, so I could basically sell a product, or I could introduce tourism. Now that cost me more and more and more money. Now by going into something like Weebly or Wix, I can very simply create a website for a few €100, and I can use these free add-ons and apps to actually do this for me, which is economically very viable. And in doing that, you would say, but you're taking people's jobs away. Actually, I'm encouraging them to now utilize the tools that are out there to make my life more economically feasible, and they can earn their money by coming on. But in the sense that I would believe that we in the technology areas of emerging technologies, particularly with what AI is now offering at this moment, can actually utilize these apps to do things which before were costing us a lot of money. And now I consider that progress. Because a lot of people would say, well, it's not. I would say, yes, it is. Because in the past, I had to wait for you for 6 weeks to put together a video, to edit it, to go over the thing. And then in the end, we would have to sit down for weeks if I could manage to get you to put the final product. Now I choose the avatar, I choose the text, I choose the type of avatar. I want someone who is bubbly, young, older, middle-aged, gray hair, white. I want someone then to present. And this is going to become more and more and more realistic. Now, I premise this with disinformation, misinformation, the necessity to check all of these all of the time. But the thing is, these are happening. Okay, Annie?
We have Annika, who is
Yes.
without the camera, unfortunately, but she wants to say something.
Please.
Yes, again, I think it's something with you, Daiti, maybe. My camera is not working when I'm in these meetings. No, I just have a comment, something I read on the internet yesterday, which really hit me, really. It was something about AI and about these generative AI, and there was a man, I think it was about my age, I'm 55 this year, and he said, when I grew up, I was told when I get older, robots will do the boring jobs in the factories, and I will do the creative work. But now we have AI doing the creative work. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do the boring job, ? And that hit me really. I was thinking about that when I went to bed last night. It's strange how we can let a tool make the things we think is fun in life and not working towards them, getting rid of sweatshops in Asia or whatever, mining and those, dangerous work in whatever place. And that really hit me. I was thinking about this for a long time yesterday.
And thank you for sharing that, because I'm very interested in the word. When I was told, I read somewhere that I would become the creative and AI would do the boring. Again, we go back to the beginning. Creativity. AI can create. It can give a conversational, logical response based upon what it is learning or is out there. But AI is not a creative. AI, and we can argue this, AI can do a painting for us. And one would say that's creativity. But can AI do a painting, speak to a child and hug them and love them at the same time, look across a room and wink at someone and say, I love you, I trust you? The capacity we have as humans to do multiple things at the one time and to do it in complex ways is way beyond the capacity of what AI can do anything faster than us once, or tasks that are individual. But the human being, in being creative, and you're talking about the sweatshops. I spend a lot of time working in West Africa, spend a lot of time working in India and in countries where sweatshops are considered to be the norm. And to see mothers feeding their babies while they're working on old looms, making clothes and socks. And I'm going, oh man, the AI could do that. But if it does that, what pays that woman to feed that child? And that's a big question I ask, but they should not be in a sweatshop ever. Education is everything. But keeping you awake, I understand why. Because now you're going, you're 55. Well, trust me, I'm a hell of a lot older than you, Annika. And where I'm coming from right now is, I believe that if I can get into the AI and understand it, and I can understand it more, I can make it work for me. And the creative side of what I have is what I get the AI to do for me, even in creating Chomsky, getting it to do for me. That creativity can never be copied or emulated by the AI. It won't be able to do what makes us extremely human. Like I said, the Luke Skywalker, the Darth Vader. But in our classrooms, what I shared with you last week and will share with you after this week, will give you a huge amount of ways you can actually bring it into a classroom to empower, engage, and enable students and teachers to make their lives easier, but not less creative. Give them time to now be more creative. I have no problem with AI servicing my car in the future. I have no problem as long as it doesn't take away my right to drive my car or to be with my children or to write my poetry, or like Annie, to utilize it to write a book or whatnot. And this is where we're at. And also, Annika, if I could say this, we're at the beginning, even though we're 50 years into this, we're at the beginning of now AI becoming visible hugely in society. So we're now dealing with something which is like a volcano just gone off. We don't know how to deal with it. And the questions you're asking are the questions many people are asking now. Oh my God, what if? I see what AI is doing. What if it did this? And there's a huge sense of fear. And fear brings with it a sense of, fear never brought anything good with it, except the natural adrenaline response from a human being to get out of the fear, or what we call resilience, which is the human body sending the necessary hormonal signals to the body to react, to be resilient. And it's AI, we need to be resilient. AI is not human. AI can emulate many things, but it can't take away our creativity. But yes, it will challenge pretty much everything in society to now stand up or man up or learn. And I hear what you're saying. Very much do I hear what you're saying.
But Daiti,
yes?
excuse me for interrupting. The other
No.
day, one of our large gaming companies in Sweden
Yes.
told us they fired 50% of their developers. 100 person got lost of the job because they're going to use AI instead. And I'm a very pessimistic person. I laugh a lot, but I'm a very pessimistic person. And I'm just thinking, this is, of course, a way of cutting cost. And it has nothing to do with have more quality or something. It is a way for, and it will maybe change. It will go back, and you will maybe see either the AI will develop into something extremely creative or whatever, and we will continue with that, and we maybe get used to that. Or maybe we will just turn around like we do in a lot of other things, that we say we want everything man-made. That has to cost something, and companies today, they don't want to pay. And the woman in the sweatshop, yeah, she is cheap because for the company owner is probably more expensive to develop a robot doing her work.
I totally agree with you.
They are not an NGO. They are doing this, but I'm just thinking, our politicians is not making our futures. It's the companies making our futures, and their only goal is to make money and get people buying the product. And I'm just thinking it's a problem that the politicians are not pessimistic enough or realistic enough to discuss what are people going to work with, what are we going to do, what kind of development do we want from our future.
And thank you for that. And you may have seen
No, I'm just, you know, I'm just like, I'm a boo person.
No, you're not. You're an honest, logical, reasonable person. As you all probably know from the European Union, 11 of the 13 top tech companies in the world have their main offices in Dublin and Ireland or in Ireland. Also, the financial centres, which used to be in London and Frankfurt and Brussels, a lot of them have moved to Dublin. And AI has actually cut the workforces in the technology areas and financial services by up to 20 to 30% because of the manner in which it can do these menial jobs. And there are huge job losses in anything that was automated. And indeed, money and profit and greed drives economics, sadly. And a lot of these people, you have put it, they don't want to get rid of the lady in the sweatshop because she might cost them $1 a day if she's lucky. But the reality, and yes, the robots cost more. But the fact of the matter is, companies in Europe are moving their productions to India and to China and other places. But what I would say, Annika, is this. The jobs that people are choosing now, and I would like to maybe share something with you here if this screen comes up. Because what I did was, I did ask the AI, and I asked it particularly in areas, so I just may have to AI energy. Yes, here it is here. Hopefully you would be able to see this. So again, I ask, Annie, can you actually see what I brought up in OpenAI, please? Christian, can you see that?
We can see it.
Yes. Okay, I asked AI to hypothesize about the future of AI in K-12 education. Talk about the future skill sets that need to be nurtured in students today to prepare them for the future workforce. Talk about the skills teachers of the future will require to engage, enable, and empower learners in this future era of AI. Finally, what way can we prepare for climate action in the future utilizing AI? Now, I'd like to share with you what it said. First of all, the future of K-12 education. Personalized learning paths. There are a huge amount of apps out there right now that analyze students' strengths and weaknesses. Indeed, I'm working with a company called Salmon, or Wise Salmon in Ireland, wisesalmon.org. We've taken all of the biology texts in all of the curricula, put them into a data set, and then the students can ask a question, and by scanning in their answers, it will predict what their mark is and then show them ways incrementally through scaffolding how they can improve their answers, including diagrams, a personalized learning path. Other apps are into AI tutors, where 24/7 students, particularly I see this in Korea, go into AI tutors of mathematics, and they're asking them to help them with homework, with answering questions, and provide feedback. These AI tutors will give instant assistance, will never get angry, never get tired, and I'm not getting into the ethics of this with you yet. But the fact is the AI tutor is there to now save parents who are spending maybe €100 every week to have their students attend private tutorials, can now do this on an app, which is very cheap. The next thing it said was data-driven insights. AI will collect and analyze data on students' performance, helping educators identify areas that need additional support. So a teacher can take an examination from a student, scan it in, and the AI will give the feedback. It will give it clinically. As you know, AI versus doctors, AI showed that when it was looking for cancer and cancer cells in the human body and cancer cells in tumors, it scored 98% of detection, while the human specialist only scored 84%. So the AI was able to detect cancer in tumors much more effectively and efficiently than the human specialist. Now, if you don't mind me saying so, if I had cancer, forbid, and someone could predict and basically identify this at an early stage, it increases my chances of survival. So data-driven insights is like data approach. It will enable timely interventions that will help the overall quality of education and make teachers' lives easier, because they will read it and then they will get options of being able to assist the student. In collaborative learning, AI will facilitate collaborative learning, connecting students from around the classes or the globe to be able to work together as a global workforce. Now, I'm just giving you here, and skills development. It's talking about, in addition to traditional subjects, students will be exposed to AI-related courses, including coding, data analysis, AI ethics. These skills will be vital for the future workforces. But the future skills for students, what are the future skills according to AI that are necessary to ensure that you are relevant? So when you go to bed, you don't stay awake all night. It says critical thinking is something it doesn't have. Digital literacy, adaptability. As technology evolves, we need to be able to adapt, change, overcome, and readapt. Learn, unlearn, relearn, as Toffler said. The capacity for us to think critically outside just one way is vital, and AI does not have that. And in our digital literacy and our capacity to collaborate, these are skills. And in the idea of ethical awareness, these are skills that AI do not have. And AI are stating clearly there are 5 areas that we could work on with students that it is not competent enough in, because it doesn't have the capacity to think critically. It doesn't have the digital literacy that we have to compose or be authors. It doesn't have the capacity to collaborate in the same way we do as humans, or to have that ethical awareness about itself. So what are the skills for teachers? Teachers need to upgrade on AI literacy, how it works, what's its limitations, what's its capacity, and how it can make its life easier. How it can analyze the data utilizing AI, all the information we have on students, and I'll share all of this with you afterwards. How to be an innovative pedagogue. AI doesn't know how to be innovate, to transform, to be transformational, to change, to adapt, to bring in the middle of a biology lesson, to sing a song about the sea. In the middle of a mathematics lesson, to bring in something from history or Greek history or ancient Mayan history that is relevant. Cultural competence. AI can connect students from diverse backgrounds and teachers, even though this is an area of debate now, diversity and inclusion. And in the area of AI and climate action, it says it can do environmental monitoring, looking at all of the data sets and the information has over hundreds of years. Energy efficiency, what's the best time, the best way to create energy in a sustainable way. Model various climates and see which is best for growing food so the world doesn't have to go hungry. Bring in renewable energies so that the world is much more efficient and therefore it's much more affordable for the person. And in climate education. Now, I'm just going to go back in a moment for that and say, I will share all of these with you later, but just to actually say to you that right now at this moment, when I ask AI a very specific question about the future, it's not afraid to tell us areas that it has a weakness in. So for yourself, maybe later on, ask AI, what are your weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? And see what it says. But it's interesting what it says there about the future. Okay? Anyone else would like to come in and to share any thoughts or ideas on this? And everything we're doing, by the way, I will share all of these websites through Annie later on, share all of these connections in there, share these different things, because each week, and say we've been doing 2 of these, and I know Annie wants to show Unity. From where I'm coming from, I want to premise it again. I know nothing. Okay? But in knowing nothing, I am seeking to understand each day. as you said, Annika, I'm seeking to understand what is it that I can do with this AI to enhance teaching and learning, to enhance, engage, enable, empower students who are differently abled, to bring the earth and the world, which is in crisis right now, to a place of equilibrium. But Annika, I can't stop the greedy people. And governments and ministers, we could get very right-wing here and say, how can you expect, let's be honest, very few teachers understand ADHD or understand dyslexia or dyspraxia because they've never been dyslexic or dyspraxic. So can you ask a fish to climb a tree? Going back to that whole idea. At the same time, can you ask an elephant to swim as well as a fish? So each child is a unique genius, and each teacher brings a unique genius to the classroom. AI cannot do that. And that's what would be there. Annie, I'm coming to you now with Unity and others, please. Yes. We can't hear you, Annie, you're on mute.
Sorry, it's Annika.
Annika, yes.
Yeah, raises her hand.
Annika, you're welcome. Unmute, please.
Am I raising my hand? I can't see. I haven't raised my hand. I'm sorry.
You are. Your hand is raised. That's why.
That's okay, Annie.
Oh,
Stop being so hard on the lady.
Now I got it up, and now
Take her
I'm taking it down.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You
France,
just ignore me. I've talked enough for today.
You have not. Antra, Annika, Franz, Lenita, would any of you like to sit, and there are others who are hidden on this, would any of you like to add anything on this? Because when people ask me sometimes to do a keynote anywhere in the world, my job is not to tell people what they want to hear. I believe it is to get them to think and sometimes react and say no. And my job is to say, please tell me why or why not, because at the end of the day, we are equal. We're on this planet together. If it goes up, I go up with you. Boom. And there is no planet B. And on the websites that I've created with the students, with the teachers, on Education for Sustainable Development and all of these, which I will put into the chat. I gave it to you last week, which is out there on the Bio Me By You and the second you. These are the websites that we're utilizing at the moment to try and bring in transformative thought process, revolutionary education, inclusive, diverse, utilizing AI to equalize the huge divide which exists. And I will tell you a story that happened this morning. Again, this morning, 47 parents from sub-Saharan Africa, the Sahel, and Ukraine attended a course on the west coast of Ireland, which, by the way, we're on Storm Agnes right now as I talk. And it is one serious bloody storm here in Ireland right now. This morning they came together and they were able to communicate utilizing the AI and apps for language. They were also able to culturally discuss things, one another utilizing AI. And this morning they were using various apps to bring themselves to understand what their children are learning in a Gaelic speaking school in the west of Ireland. And the principal teacher director rang me afterwards and said, it was incredible. For the first time, she had the capacity to communicate with all of the parents where there were 10 or 12 different languages by her speaking one, and their apps translated for the parents, and they were able to understand and speak back to her. And she said there was a communication, a falling of that wall for the first time. And she said, now I know how to communicate with them. Now we and the children can work with them more effectively. And this is in Ireland. As in from this moment, we now have 75,000 Ukrainian people here in Dublin, increasing by roughly 2,000 to 3,000 per month. We have over 100,000 people, including our direct provision and more coming in. And we are in a position where educationally we are not prepared for this. Socially, we're not prepared for it. Economically, we're not prepared for it. But we're talking about human beings. And I believe myself that this is the big challenge we now need to get into. How can we create a society where we welcome people, and the right wing, which I see very much all over Europe now, the right wing, those that are really pushing the agenda of anti-immigrant, anti-this and anti-that, that which caused wars before these, are now getting a voice. They're now getting a grip, and that has to stop. So Annie, what I would say to you is, I will share everything with you. Would you now like to share maybe something on unity? And so to show, for example, the lessons that are there. And by the way, I will share with you everything on astronomy and Minecraft and AI. We will share all of those and so many other wonderful websites. And would ask you to stay in communication with me, please. Let me know what you're doing. Let us know what you're up to. If we were doing a workshop, we would all be working on things. And by the way, go to Perplexity and have fun with it. Have fun with Perplexity. And Christian, feel free to share any websites you have maybe on the chat that where you would see these new avatars if they're available. And because Google in the new upgrade of Windows 11, Chrome is now offering this as a part of what's there. And all of you know, you can open a document in Microsoft Word now, go to review, click translate, and it will translate the document up to 99% correctly for you in any other language. Microsoft Word, document, review, language, translate, and it will do it for you. It's all coming as part of what is free right now. So Annie, you've sent the link to Unity website. Do you want to speak about it, please?
I can try.
Please.
I can just to show you where you can find the
lessons.
The lessons.
Yes. And Unity is all about bringing digitization, digital skills, digital awareness into education, into the whole school community, for teachers, for students, and the lessons are there. And I know you're starting to share it right now, Annie. I think you're sharing the screen as opposed to sharing the website.
Now, is it the screen now?
Yes, you're sharing the screen now.
Yeah, I was going to
now
go
you're
get
into
the
Unity.
link from the, yeah.
Now you're into Unity. Yes.
So this is also where the link to these webinars will be. All countries in this project are also producing different kinds of webinars, and you will find them all gathered here when they're all done. But we do have the lesson plans here that has been done already. So it's in each country has created 10. It's more like a thematic planning. It's not one lesson plan only in one. If it says lesson plan 1, it's more sequel of lessons. So in all together there are 60 lesson plans where you can work with the sustainable goals in different ways.
And Danny, can I ask you, because everyone's listening, what languages, I know the answer, but for you to say it, what languages are these lessons available in right now?
Right now in English.
And the languages that will be available in a matter of a few weeks?
Yeah, there are translations going on, but like we have a webinar about AI, translations in Portuguese, Swedish, Italian, Croatian, and Turkish.
So all of those countries, Turkish, Croatian, Swedish, Italian, and Greek.
Portuguese.
And Portuguese, which is 6. Now, anyone can take those documents, Annie.
Yes,
and can bring them into Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
And can go into review and click translate from Greek to Hungarian, translate from Swedish to Chetnian, translate from this to Bulgarian or Romanian or Latvian or Estonian or Icelandic. So this is now something that once the lessons are there in the exemplars, now we have to ask the question, in the future, why should we have to translate documents for Europe? And I'm going to give you a good story. And this is the true story. The Irish Commissioner in the European Union used an app that we have developed to send out a message to all other commissioners. The app immediately translated her message to every other commissioner within a matter of seconds. When the commissioners came to her door, I was there, and they said, "How did you do that?" Because one commissioner from another country said, "We have over 3,000 people, now Annika, 3,000 people employed in Brussels right now doing translations. If this app works, then they have no more jobs. 3,000 people doing translations." Now, my answer is the 3,000 people doing translations are still vital to ensure that technical language is perfect and correct. But that should not stop the commissioners waiting a week to get a response. Ireland has a problem with Latvia. Latvia needs to respond in a week's time. A lot can happen in a week in politics. So that's an example of how then I was shown the door in Brussels and told, "Go back to Ireland, go home, and forget you ever showed this app to anyone," because the commissioners would have buried me because the app was so effective. Now, that's an example of showing how Europe could save lots of money, because we now know of the 9 billion euro, which is available for European projects. And again, I offer you all the opportunity to get involved with us in these projects through Malmö Stad, and indeed in Ireland as partners for the call in February, if you wish, for the next European calls, that we're now in a position where we have to ask ourselves, what is the way forward here with AI? And each of us must make our own choice. So Annie, with Unity, how do you feel about these translations? Because I was told go home and don't use it in the European Union, but now they're pulling back the money on European projects to help the other war-torn countries, and education has been the first area where they've pulled back. Well, I say let the 3,000 translators go, and we save probably about what, 16 million a year? And that can go back into education. Now I am being a disruptor. Annie, what else would you like to say about Unity?
Please take your time and look through the webpage. It's being built as we speak, but it's a very interesting, creative, and inspiring project.
And it is that. And the whole idea was to unify Europe, because when I just see, can I find it here at this moment? DIGI, DigiSkillup. When I was part of the European Union during the famous COVID, as we call it, the COVID, had the privilege at that particular time of writing up a huge program which was free for every single European citizen. It's now coming on here. And it was there called DigiUpskills. And we wrote all of this in Europe so that every single European citizen could upskill themselves. So if you're looking at something for your students or an older adult education or yourself to upskill, there are 3 various courses. They're built so they can be done in 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5-minute times or blocks. They were written by us, for all ages of all abilities in Europe to upskill European citizens. And this website is worth, I would just say to you, I would hope this website is worth looking at, because it is free 100% in as many languages as we could possibly put out there in the DigiUpskills. I feel very proud of having put together a team of Europeans to do this and put it together so that we could make this available to all European citizens. And little did we know when we were writing that during COVID, that AI and robotics and coding will become so futuristic and would evolve so quickly. So everything that was written there is so out of date that it's embarrassing, but it's only written just recently. But that said, the courses were there, put there for people to be able to engage and learn and relearn and unlearn at their own pace at a 0 cost. And that was the important thing. So this is something that's being used in a lot of European countries now with adults, Annie, that we could embed also on the Unity website, which is all about Digi Upskills. The courses are free. It is free. Europe paid for it. And that was the golden rule I had as the team leader in Europe, that this will be made available free to every single citizen out there in as many languages as possible. And that's what we do. That's all we can do. So, are there any final comments? I will share everything with you later on. We will now share everything that's pretty much that is there. And we said we'd talk about the future of AI. Coming back to Christian, and I want to thank you, Christian, particularly for your conversation. To me, the future mainly in AI is in the area of how we're going to utilize it to present ourselves as humans. And that's going to be in media, video, misinformation, disinformation, because we will find it impossible to tell the difference between reality and non-reality 24/7. And this can be used again like Luke Skywalker for good or Darth Vader, and that choice is ours. Annika, I heard everything you said, and I want to thank you because you're the voice of reason that is out there saying to me, stop, think, we need to protect. But I'm the voice that's saying, but we also need to be human, be creative, be loving, be empathetic, connect with the earth. And we have something that AI will never have. We are the creatives. But in education, I will go to my bed, death, or my coffin saying, AI can make my life as an educator a hell of a lot easier, a hell of a lot more fruitful, a hell of a lot more productive, but it can't make it more creative. I am the pedagogue in the classroom with these students, children of this earth, and together we are the creatives to turn that AI lesson into a pedagogy of love, of empathy, of understanding, of inclusivity, of diversity. That's my job as a pedagogue, to be the creative. So Annika, know this, as long as you are the creative, you will always have a job. Adapt, change, readapt, and be creative, and you will overcome. Any final words to you? And I want to thank Malmö Stad for the opportunity of sharing stories with you. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I know nothing, but with you it has been a privilege to share stories, and I would love to hear more of your stories. You'll find me on the web. No matter where you go, you'll find me out there. Just go looking for crazy Irish guys who know they know nothing, and somehow you'll find me somewhere up a mountain or something. Any final words to Malmö Stad? Thank you for Unity today. Thank you for everything you've done on Shelfie. Shelfie is also, I think, a website that maybe we should share. I'll put it into the chat because of this huge amount of lessons and everything. And thank you to the Swedish people, I would have to say, for this invitation to speak on a topic that so many others are afraid to debate. I want to thank you for a country that we've always looked to from Ireland as being our invaders, but also our brothers and our sisters, our Scandinavian, West Coast, Nordic groups. I want to thank you for being so brave. Any final words to you while I bring up Shelfie?
Yeah. No, I just want to say thank you to all of you for attending, staying with us for so long, although it's evening now, ready to go and have an evening meal with the family and so on. But we think this is important to show, like Annika, Christian, Dahi from the Malmö team, this us four, to debate and discuss and to raise not only positive aspects but all aspects as we can. So keep doing this, and I hope we can meet again.
And Danny, I put up
see
the
what happens.
Shelfie website with the
Yeah.
lessons and the Unity with the
Thank you.
lessons. And I'd love you to get your feedback in this. And Danny, thank you so much, knowing how challenged you are today, having had a major reaction to the penicillin. I want to thank you for,
Yeah.
and to all of the people in Malmö Stad, please convey one thing. What you have done the last 2 weeks is engage, enable, and empower people to discuss something which is vitally important, and not to be afraid of that debate, and to say thank you all very much. So with that, enjoy your evenings with your families. Hug a tree. enjoy
Yeah.
what's there. As I look out on the west coast of Ireland and a storm coming in at they said it's 140 kilometers an hour wind right now, and the waves are coming in at 30, 20, 30, 40 meters. But that's nature. We cannot stop nature. Let it be. It will calm. But we must trust nature. Beware. Let's not trust AI, but let's use it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.